Hi everybody, I am Elliot, the Director, CEO and UX Designer of WatermelonBlock.
I'm Dan Shani and I'm CTO of WatermelonBlock.
And we are here to answer some of your questions. So let's begin. What will WatermelonBlock, what will the card consist of? I'm assuming you were talking about the debit card, which will be linked to your wallet. We're going to be developing this with a third party, and we'll be releasing more information probably in the next 3 months. We'll have some stuff out to you.
All right, we have another question, which was why was NEM chosen as the primary blockchain over, for example, Ethereum or EOS? And is it a coincidence that a lot of AI projects join the NEM platform? So I guess there's a few reasons why we chose the NEM blockchain as a service platform. It does have many similarities with Ethereum and EOS. I think two things stood out for us with NEM. One is the architecture and its scalability, its ability to grow with us and stay responsive, stay high performance, stay secure. But I think that the most interesting thing about NEM is its community program, which networked us with many of the third parties we're working with to develop and deliver this application.
Cool. What does a normal working day look like at your team? Would you say it differs much from a non-blockchain company? Well, I would say normal working day first. A normal working day is certainly very exciting here. Does it differ from blockchain companies? Yeah, I suppose it's been described as a very dynamic working environment. It's a communal tech environment, which is really, really cool. We've got all the resources that we need at our fingertips. And yeah, we've got immediate access to large-scale resources. So it's pretty fantastic. It's really a bit of everything. It's really interesting developing sort of our product and also running the ICO at the same time, and mixing together marketing team, design team, developers, security, all under the same roof. So it's a fun environment. Is the bot using standard strategies in correlation to social metrics, or is it purely based on social metrics? So the bot's going to be using technical analysis and sentiment analysis. We use IBM Watson, curated by our own proprietary algorithm.
Yeah, so I think that's interesting to say. It's got traditional technical analysis. Yep. It's got sentiment analysis by IBM Watson, which is best in its class.
Yep.
And then, obviously, like Elliot said, we curate or wrap that around with our proprietary algorithm, which is developing all the time. Next question. Will the app be available worldwide immediately, or will it be available in a staged structure? We will be launching the initial app to the whole world at the same time in a freemium model, which will provide the sentiment scoring for the top 500 cryptocurrencies and ICOs.
And that will be out in Q4.
Yes, very important to say. It will be out in Q4 of this year, 2018. Is the bot a pre-trained model, or will it continually improve, perhaps based on user feedback? And that's another good question. So there's a few elements to this. The bot is certainly pre-trained. We give it a lot of historical data to give it context so that it can better analyze sentiment, so that it has better context around cryptocurrency. But both our bot and our algorithm will be continually improved, both based on what we as an organization are learning as we develop it, as well as, of course, our user feedback. You can expect to see this bot get smarter and smarter as the program gets more and more mature.
So which and how many exchanges will the bot be able to trade on? Will that number expand? So we're in talks with a number of exchanges at the moment, and definitely some will be secured by the time of release.
Yep. And actually the next question is a very good follow-up, which is how does the bot communicate with the exchanges? Is it done by API? And if the exchanges are against automated trading, will it be easy for them to shut the WatermelonBlock bot off from them? So a few questions there. I suppose the first one is that many exchanges use APIs of different kinds, and we will be building integration into a range of exchanges using a range of methods, all secure, obviously. But we plan to work with those exchanges. So we don't foresee a model where our trading bot is working with an exchange that is against automated trading. It will always be done in cooperation with the exchanges. And of course, exchanges can shut that off if they want. And APIs are two-way street. Lastly, I guess, is that these APIs evolve both from the exchange side and from our side. So we are committed to maintaining those integrations and those APIs with the exchanges, and actually have a whole development track known only as maintenance, which is about maintaining the currency of all our third-party services.
Is the team planning on attending and traveling to various blockchain events? Yes, absolutely. The roadshow is going to continue. This week we are actually all over the place, heading to, what's the next one?
Singapore, I believe.
It is Singapore, absolutely right. The World Blockchain Conference. We actually were recently at Consensus in New York, to Amsterdam, Coin Agenda. Sonia at the moment is in Estonia doing an interview with Ivan on Tech, heading to Japan. So there is a lot of traveling going on by everybody in the team, actually.
Yeah.
Next question is sort of a similar theme. Is an individual the only target user? Certainly the first application is really targeted towards the individual. However, we are also releasing the white label, which is targeted towards businesses, so they can actually develop their own sort of sentiment analysis and indexing systems.
And I guess building off that, a lot of the further stages, the long-term stages in our roadmap are targeted at business, enterprise, white label, and B2B applications. So we're talking here not just front-end applications for business, but also APIs and software development kits that will allow businesses to build their applications and harness the power of our engine to deliver better output for their users. So one of the questions that we got was, could we share any use cases for companies that would use WatermelonBlock? And a good example for a small business use case for WatermelonBlock would be market research based on geography and keywords to identify, for example, sentiment around a competitor product, and therefore be able to direct marketing energies towards where a competitor might have bad sentiment, for example, and not invest energy where a competitor might have very good sentiment. So we see that as a very good small business use case. An enterprise white label, I suppose, API use case. There it's quite endless. You can plug into our system to deliver sentiment around almost any keyword in any context. And so we see that as a big long-term growth opportunity for our platform.
Definitely. So I suppose the engine and the concept can be used across any market, community or industry. It doesn't matter whether you're in politics and you want to look at all of the politicians, by geolocation and compare different traits, or whether you are comparing sort of any products in financial markets, or even if you're a buyer to a department store and you want to understand what's going to work the best in the store. That's exactly what WatermelonBlock does. It takes a snapshot of an industry and shows you what's working and what's not working in terms of sentiment.
And I guess the point of difference, lastly on that, is our input data. Our input data is in huge volume, primarily from social media and news media. And there's little to no other platforms that do that and aggregate that scale of content. And then there's no other platform that delivers it via AI and via proprietary algorithm to an outcome.
Yeah. So next question. Will the WatermelonBlock app also track coins that are not on CoinMarketCap? No, we exclusively track the top 500 coins by market cap, and they're all got to be on CoinMarketCap.com. As this keeps track of market sentiment, how much time does it save over doing the daily tasks of researching manually, or how much extra information would be taken into account? Well, it's an interesting question. The short answer is it will save you a lot of time.
I think the best way of thinking about this is actually, if you were to read the number of articles that our platform reads a day
you would be
per cryptocurrency,
1,000 years old.
You would be 1,000 years old every day. We are talking about millions of articles processed per day. So we are talking about definitely a level above what is humanly possible. And we are certainly of the belief that anybody who is using this platform as part of their overall strategic analysis is going to have an edge over their competitors.
So to summarize, it'll save you quite a bit of time.
That's it.
With the current market, with where are we? Hold on.
Yeah.
With the current market trend, what are your plans to market and achieve your token sale goal? Great question. We all know we are in a bear market at the moment, so we've got a very, very generous bonus structure to mitigate the bearish trend, and we've got also very realistic funding goals in our mind, coupled with a very extensive marketing and PR campaign.
Yeah.
Dan, I think this one is for you.
Yeah, we've got a question about whether there's an official written agreement of our collaboration or partnership with IBM. Our partnership with IBM is certainly official, and we've been working with various business units within IBM. Our primary partnership is with the IBM Cloud team, and that is based around our development and very strong integration on IBM's Watson, on IBM's Bluemix, or IBM Cloud, sorry, now it's known platform. But we are also working with other units at IBM to assess feasibility around our later phases. And the sneak peek is, things like pervasive encryption and offline storage of encryption keys in a way that no one else is doing. But I suppose we have a range of written documentation that's available on application or by request that we can provide for investors or for curious parties. But yes, certainly IBM and WatermelonBlock's collaboration is an official one.
Yeah, I think it's been paraphrased and put in a few different locations on the internet.
That's right, yes. And Boris Marishas is also quoted IBM Cloud lead in Australia as one of our advisory board members.
Oh, yes, yeah, definitely.
And has been quoted in several articles that highlight that partnership between WatermelonBlock and IBM.
Yeah.
So it can very comfortably be said that is our most prominent commercial partnership.
Definitely.
Off the back of that, we've got another technical question. I noticed an allocation of funds are for building a data center within the white paper. How much is assigned to this, and have you completed a due diligence on this? Is this the best use of money, as these data centers are costly and not effective? Why have you decided to go this route and not with cloud-based tech? Excellent question. Several questions in there, so I might just break it down. First of all, it's important to note that WatermelonBlock at this time and the WatermelonBlock token, as well as all the supporting services, are built in the cloud. So we are certainly leveraging cloud-based tech. The allocation of funds for a data center refers to future phases, and there are several good use cases for it. I would challenge the notion that data centers are not effective, because all cloud-based services are based out of data centers. And the majority of data centers around the world are multi-tenanted. So it's not uncommon to see a public cloud service like Amazon share a physical facility with a competitor like Microsoft's Azure or IBM's cloud. So the notion of a data center being not effective, I'd like to challenge. That being said, we are looking at very, very specific use cases, and we are looking to, I suppose, get a foothold in a market that is very immature, which is data centers that are built especially for future applications. Those applications include distributed file systems, as well as distributed currencies and blockchains and storage of those. And so the model that we are looking at is purpose-built from the ground up. It is not designed to directly compete with the likes of Equinix, for example, worldwide data center provider to Amazon and Microsoft. we are partway through our due diligence, the initial phases of which have been completed. But as the technology is evolving and as several projects, particularly in the blockchain space, are evolving, so too are the needs from a data center like this. And so the short answer at the end of a long answer is the due diligence is still ongoing, and it's something that we are tailoring for best outcome and to be a unique value proposition in that market, not to be just another Equinix.
Cool. Will we get a demonstration of the application working during the token sale? Great question. Funny that this has just come up, because after this little filmy thing, I'm going to go straight into our office and I'm actually going to upload a video of the application working. So probably by the time this comes out, so will that. Is WMB planning to schedule or attend an event? If yes, where, when, and how many are scheduled? So beyond the sort of touring schedule that we will be putting out, and what I mentioned earlier, we are actually running our own event at the end of August, and we will release details to that very, very shortly, within the next 10 days. How did the WMB team come together, and is there a working history within the team from another project, and if yes, which ones? Absolutely. Actually, some of us have known each other for over 10 years. Dan and I, beyond organising some events together when we were in our early 20s, I've also done a bit of interface design for his tech company, and a bunch of the other partners. We have worked together on community arts festivals, and actually all sorts of various projects, design projects, even sort of having Tech Head, which is Dan's other company, as a service provider, using our company for social media. So it's interesting how it actually came about.
All right, next question is an interesting one. To quote the questioner, what are the negative aspects of working with IBM Watson, and how are you going to tackle these problems that many who have been working with it in the past have experienced? So I suppose this one's a bit of a cryptic question. And I'll go from the end of the question backwards, because there are a lot of problems that people have had in working with Watson. And one must understand that IBM today does not build products, they build technologies and platforms. And like any toolkit, it's how you use the tools, and it's very much subjective, interpretive, and up to the executor as to how they will use that. I think that most people who have trouble with IBM Watson fail to appreciate the curation and the structure of data that's required in order to achieve a good outcome from Watson. And we've worked very, very hard to structure or to first extract data from social media and news media, to then structure it very, very carefully and very, very specifically. And a lot of work's gone into that prior to the Watson process of that application. Once that data returns from Watson, we then restructure it again before aggregating it and presenting it in the app. So when one asks what are the negative aspects of working with Watson, I don't look at that as an accurate reflection of our experience. Our experience has been overwhelmingly positive. If anything, IBM has really bootstrapped our development process, has provided us with a lot of support, both in the way of human resources, as well as access to technology and access to knowledge base. And our experience with IBM Watson has been overwhelmingly positive. We're convinced it's best in breed, and it is definitely the AI technology that is going to make WatermelonBlock a cut above the rest.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for any sort of new dev teams, any young dev teams, I would definitely recommend working with IBM, or at least having a meeting with them, because they were so helpful for us in the early stages, and they've just continued to support us. So
yeah, and like I said, IBM today is not a products company anymore. IBM is about creating amazing technology and then inspiring vendors, people like us out in the industry, to not just use that technology, but to use that technology to its maximum. So yeah, our experience has been overwhelmingly positive, and very different from what we expected going into it. It's very different from working with a traditional top-tier technology vendor. So, we're really excited about having Watson at the heart of our application.
Yeah, even being able to check out the IBM Garage, which is their incubator program. I mean, that's one of the sort of amazing things they do for sort of young people with really good ideas.
Sure. Or the IBM Think Conference in Sydney a few months ago, where we received demonstrations of all kinds of capabilities with Watson AI. IBM are really incubating a lot of new, exciting, interesting technologies and helping people like us, get the maximum out of them.
Cool. So that is it for the questions. We want to send out a massive thank you to the whole community. Please keep them coming. We will be doing another AMA. Thank you for being involved. Obviously, we would not be here without you. And have a lovely day.